This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new year of the Bristol Flyers Podcast presented by UWE Bristol. This is episode 11 with Antwain Johnson. My name's Joel Osborne. I'm very pleased to be joined once again by my good friend Sam Hardy. Sam, welcome back to the Bristol Flyers Podcast for 2022. And I believe a belated happy birthday is in order for you.
Stop it.
The big 3-1.
Well, my 3-0 was in lockdown last year, so it was nice to have an actual birthday this year, mate.
You call it the 30 plus one?
Yeah, exactly. Although still didn't really do much, so.
Is there much planned at all? Any celebrations planned or no?
I kind of did it all last weekend, really.
Yeah.
You kind of didn't make the cut of my friendship, mate. So.
Awkward.
But no, it was nice, and thanks for asking. Did you have a good Christmas and New Year, Joel?
Yeah, it was. Good Christmas, good New Year, quite a chilled one. Obviously, we had the news in the team about like some of the players having COVID. So obviously, all our 3 festive games were postponed, which partly is a bad thing, but partly gives me a bit of extra time off through Christmas. So it's quite good. But obviously now means we've got to reschedule those games into the schedule for the rest of 2022, which is already pretty jam-packed. So I think now in total there's the 3 postponed games that we need to reschedule. There's also the Derby Trailblazers game because we beat Leicester Riders in the first round of the trophy, which we'll get onto shortly. That needs to go into the schedule as well. And then there's also a previously postponed London Lions away trip that needs to go into the schedule as well. So we've got like 5 games without dates right now, which I'm trying to keep my schedule as open as possible for those games to slide in there. But it's going to be pretty jam-packed 2022 leading up to playoff time.
We're going to have some Friday, Sundays, or maybe even Saturday, Sunday double headers coming up soon, hey?
Absolutely. You know it's coming. The double headers are coming, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't have it any other way because I'm a big fan of these double headers. They can get really you can get pretty knackered at the end of a weekend, but I do like rolling on the momentum of having a Friday away somewhere and then coming back home and playing a Saturday night at Wise Campus.
Feels a bit more like the NBA, doesn't it? Having like 2 or 3 games in a week rather than once a week or whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot different as well from like football and rugby, where you have like football, you have your Tuesday, Saturday games, where basketball is very full on, and a lot of people ask questions like, "Oh, how are the players coping with having these like back-to-backs and stuff like that?" But it's quite a normal thing in basketball, I feel, having those back-to-back games.
Well, it's not the same sort of, you don't deplete your muscles quite the same, do you? So it is obviously really strenuous, but you're able to recover just about in time within the next day or 2 days later, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously they have the week in between and stuff like that, and they add extra rest days and stuff where need be. And but I tell you what, this is actually one thing I didn't realise. This is our first podcast we've done in person.
And didn't it feel so much nicer than having Zoom cut
God.
out on us and all the rest of it?
Yeah. Well, we will try and do a lot more of these podcasts in person, I feel, because the conversation we had, we had Antwain Johnson come in today, and what a good conversation this was. A really, really exciting podcast, which I really think you'll enjoy.
Well, he's a really interesting guy, but also he just come in after not having been with the team very long. He's played 1 game at this point of recording with the Flyers, 1 official game, I should say.
Yeah. And
what a game against Leicester Riders.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. There's Bristol Flyers right now are unbeaten in 2022. You can say that right now. 1 game in, okay, but it was against Leicester Riders, which, anyone that listens to, follows British basketball and listens to the podcast will know that, Leicester, one of the top BBL powerhouses in the league. So a huge win, obviously. Big time performances across the board. Rafael Thomas Edwards had a big game. Trajan Jacob had a big game. Marcus Evans had a big game. Everything seemed to click, and obviously Leicester made that comeback in the 4th quarter. Thing is, with that, it's coming. They had like 2 really good opportunities to tie the game in that last sort of 30-second period. I think we did everything we could to almost throw it away with some of those inbound plays as well, right?
Well, they literally had the last shot of the game, didn't they? That hit the ring, and then and then they buzzed out at that point. But
yeah.
Any other day that could have been
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So it could have
crazy.
gone overtime easily. But of course, this weekend we're all getting set for Leicester Riders again. Obviously, at the time of recording, we've got them on Friday. I imagine this podcast will come out after that game. So you'll know the result of the game that we're playing on Friday, but we don't know the result of the game right now.
So all that stuff you're saying about being undefeated in 2022 will hopefully still be true, won't it, Joel?
Well, we'll see. What time will tell. But let's keep our eyes firmly focused on the game at hand, and we'll see how we get on. And hopefully, that will still be the case come Monday morning. We will see. One other thing we got to get to before we get into the podcast is obviously during the Christmas period, big news coming out of the BBL that they had investment from 777 partners, who obviously a lot of British basketball followers will know. They also own the London Lions basketball team.
Yeah.
They've done great in getting them into European competition, investing into the team. Obviously, they lost to Bakken last night, but for them to be playing in European competition like that, massive for the league. And now for them to they invested $7 million in a return for 45% stake in the league. That is huge for British basketball. It doesn't sound like a lot if you compare it to like football and rugby, but what you can do with that amount of money in our sport is it will transform the sport, in my opinion.
Well, we had some funding cut after the Olympics, didn't we? And so having this money coming in, I'm just really excited. But as long as, Joel, they can actually spend it like really well, because like 7 million, like you said, could do loads in this league, but it also could easily get diminished quite quickly, right?
Yeah, I really hope they spend it in the right way. That it can easily be spent. Like you say, it can easily be spent the wrong way. I mean, I'm looking at the press release. It's been on the cards for quite a while. I've kind of known about it off the record for quite a while, but now in the press release, seeing some of the stuff that they want to invest in. Central to the plan is a significantly enhanced leadership team. So they want to appoint a new CEO to the BBL.
Nice.
To drive the league forward, which will be pretty big for the league. They want to invest in a digital transformation strategy, which probably excites me the most, because that's obviously, what we do at Flyers. But
you love media, don't you, Joe?
I just love a bit of media, me.
Media man.
But hey, if they can invest that money into improving the standard of our broadcast, obviously, like a lot of the games broadcast on Key Motion, so if they can, invest that money into transforming that, if we can get more games on Sky, that'll be a massive thing. You often see games on Sky repeated on a Monday or a Tuesday. Those are perfect slots for them, and to slide in a couple of extra BBL games on Sky. So and the stuff that Buzz 16 have been doing is fantastic. So if they can continue that would be huge. Or give us more games on Sky, just getting eyeballs on the sport, because at the end of the day, I think once you see the product, that's when you get hooked. But at the moment, there's not that much exposure in the British game. So obviously, we have one game a week on Sky. Everything else is on BBL Player. Give us more games on Sky Sports. People flicking through Sky Sports all the time will just be like, "Oh, I've never known there was a British league, British basketball league. I might watch this for a little bit. Watch like Bristol Flyers and be like, oh, that's not far from my house. I might get involved and buy a ticket." There's so many NBA fans in the UK. If we can start to tap into those audiences, like that will be key as part of this investment, I feel.
Well, we we're probably preaching to the converted here, because like if you're listening to this, you probably know and love the Flyers already. But anytime I bring a friend along, I'm like, get along, come watch a game. Like genuinely, even if they've known nothing about basketball, they have one of the best times. And so I think like the league has so much to offer. We have so much to offer, like as a sport in general in the UK. And if we can get it sort of out there, mate, I'm going to be buzzed. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, and I think the clubs are also going in that right direction as well. Like obviously Flyers with the plans for the Sporting Quarter now at Ashton Gate.
Yeah.
You see Sheffield Sharks making progress on them getting themselves a new arena. If clubs can do this as well as this investment coming in, I really think like we can really push this league forward, hopefully, to get to a point where it is sort of seen as a one of the top sports in the UK, which I think it is certainly possible. It's definitely possible.
Well, this podcast with Antwain Johnson, it's a really good one. I recommend. Well, you're already listening to it. So.
Well, yeah, you're going to listen to it now.
Yeah.
Really good chat we have with Antwain. Talked about his relationship with former players like Eric Lockett, Marcus Evans, Trajan Jacob. Obviously, he'd known those guys before he arrived. Talk about his journey going up through college. Obviously, 2 years at Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then on to Buffalo. talk about his short stint with NBA G League teams, Texas Legends, and the Skyforce, the G League affiliate of the Miami Heat. And it is a really good chat. So without further ado, let's get to it. Here is episode 11 of the Bristol Flyers podcast with Antwain Johnson.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Want it all? You'll find it here. Because at UWE Bristol, we empower students to make a choice, to choose a community of bright minds and courageous thinkers, to choose to stand out, with courses designed to equip you with the most in-demand skills, to choose a mindset, the kind that employers want and need. Don't just choose a city, don't just choose a course, choose to do university right. Choose UWE Bristol, not just another university. But don't just take our word for it, search UWE Bristol today.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Okay, welcome back to the Bristol Flyers podcast. And joining us now is Flyers' newest signing, Antwain Johnson. Antwain, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Man, we're so excited to see you this season. We've seen a couple of your mixtapes and they look amazing. So I've been excited to watch what you can actually do for us on the court this year.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm excited to get out there. And, well, I know a lot of the fans probably seen me, from the first game, but I definitely feel like I can bring a little bit more to the table.
I feel sorry for you because you've come over at right in the middle of Christmas.
Right.
The first game you played was this pre-season friendly. Well, I say pre-season friendly exhibition game in the middle of December.
Right.
And then you're not even training at Wise through Christmas because obviously it's shut. So your first impressions of Flyers must be horrible.
Nah, I already knew. Coach told me, that was just temporary. But I'm actually glad I got to play that game because I needed it more than anything. Just because I ain't played in a while. Since I left, Sioux Falls. So.
Yeah.
You came in riddled. Everyone was riddled with COVID as well. So.
Oh yeah.
Literally right in the middle. And again, we were all we had a COVID outbreak in the team. We had to postpone games, so we had that obviously weakened squad as well. And
right.
But obviously, you knew some of the guys that played for us anyway, right?
Oh yeah, I knew Marcus and TJ coming in. We were all signed to the same agent. Coming out of college, and we stayed with each other for 2 months.
Yeah,
yep.
That's sick. It's so sick how people just know each other. Oh yeah, I played with someone or I trained with someone in the summer. The basketball world is tiny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super small. Somebody knows somebody.
Yeah.
I also feel like I kind of know a little bit what's going on around the club. And the first I saw of you was your signing, on the social media. I was like, well, this is cool. This is really cool. Watch the mixtape, and I was like, I am excited for this. So, right. But you've been in Bristol a few weeks now, right?
Right, about 2.5 weeks now.
How are you finding it so far? You enjoying yourself and all the rest of it?
Yeah, everything seemed, pretty much normal except the side of the road that the car is driving on,
Are you driving? Are you actually driving at anyone?
I probably wouldn't even try to drive.
Have you learned stick shift or are you just automatic?
No, I actually know how to drive stick shift. Yeah.
There you go.
Is this your first time in the UK as well?
Yeah, it's definitely my first time in the UK.
Yeah. I think it's I speak to a lot of Americans. It's quite a good place for Americans to come over at the start of their career because there's no language barrier.
Right.
The cultures are very similar, aren't they?
For sure. Yeah, that's why I say it's not too much of a difference, especially with it being, the same language.
Yeah. I imagine that's really tough, because obviously we're doing a podcast right now, but if you're living in, if you're playing in I don't know,
Greece or something.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do a podcast unless...
it'd be difficult. I need a translator.
That's right.
Yeah, although we, as English-speaking people, are lazy, and everyone else learns to speak English, and we just kind of get along with it. So I reckon if you were in Greece, they would definitely be speaking English to you, wouldn't they? So,
right. Yeah.
I think I saw on your Instagram you've had a chance to do some exploring around Bristol.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where have you been so far?
I went to the M Shed yesterday actually, and it was pretty nice. I got to learn about a little bit of the history in Bristol, and I went to the other museum across the street.
Yeah. Oh, the Arnold Feeney.
Yep.
Yeah, we spoke about that before we came on air.
Yeah.
You couldn't quite get the name of it. But...
Yeah, I didn't want to say it because I knew I was gonna mess it up.
I've lived in Bristol for 10 years now, and I've still never been to the Arnold Feeney. So
wow.
I should head there at some point. So.
Yeah, I think lots of people take things in Bristol for granted. There's actually so much history and so much there that people can do and see, but people like us who just lived here for so long just don't really realize or appreciate
it's normal
that.
to you guys.
Yeah. It's madness.
Yeah.
Just sort of have you been anywhere else in Bristol or anywhere else you want to go in Bristol? Is there anything like that? On a to-do list or things while you're here? So I know you're not here for too long.
Not sure. I'm just kind of playing it by ear. it was a statue that got pulled down or something like that I
Yeah,
heard
the
about.
Colston statue.
The Colston statue. I wanted to go and see, that area and
Yeah.
things of that sort.
Did you hear about that from when you were in the States, or have you only just heard of that when you came
No,
to
I
Bristol?
actually just heard about it.
That was massive. I mean, did you see like all of the you didn't see all the stuff online about it or anything like that? No, it was huge. Obviously, with Bristol's like history and stuff like that. Like they just had the trial, didn't they?
Yeah.
They got off, didn't they?
They didn't get any criminal.
No.
I don't know. There's a
Right.
lot of arguing going on about it, isn't there?
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
You've been here for a few weeks now. Just wind it back a couple of weeks ago to when you're at home in the States. You get the call from your agent saying there's an opportunity on the cards to play for Flyers on that short-term contract. Just talk us through how that came about from your point of view. Like, what was the story? Where were you when you first found out about the offer?
I actually, like, when I'm at home, I'm constantly working out, daily. So I had just actually left the gym, and my agent called, and he was like, "We got this short-term contract for you in Bristol, in the BBL league. It's a good league, to go and play and get an opportunity for other teams to see you." So I was like, "Sure, I'll take it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had a chance to speak to coach as well. What did he say on the phone to you? That sort of, I mean, you obviously heard about the interest, but then did you was that reaffirmed to you that you wanted to come here after you spoke to coach on the phone?
Oh yeah, for sure. Cause I could tell coach came off very genuine. When I talked to him, he told me the same thing, kind of what my agent told me. He was like, "We need you to play for us because we got some injured guys, and just be able to come in and fill that role for them, and also be able to help you get some exposure during the time."
I saw in your first game with us there was a big play. You had that nice little and-one. That was that one of your favorite moments of that game?
Oh yeah, yeah, most definitely. I gotta say that the and one was definitely the highlight of my first.
Also hit a pretty clutch shot in that friendly game.
Yeah,
I think it was like a tie game, and you hit that 3 in the baseline corner. That must be quite good for confidence. I mean, just come off the. I mean, what's the timescales between you coming off the plane and you literally going straight into that exhibition game?
I want to say it was probably less than 48 hours, but yeah, that was actually a big moment for me too. Just being able to come in and hit that shot, because we was down 1 with like 30 seconds left, and I hit that shot. It was like 15 seconds left. I just knew we was finna win that game though.
Wait, who was that one against? Which
that
one?
was the Plymouth game.
Oh,
so we played
yeah.
Plymouth City Patriots in this. Obviously, we couldn't fulfill the game because we had injuries and players with COVID and stuff. But obviously, they requested us to come down and still fulfill a game because obviously they'd sold tickets and they didn't want to refund and stuff like that. So we sent a team down with an unannounced Antwain Johnson signing. Which luckily no one picked up on it too much.
Yeah,
Were you officially like a player for the Flyers at that point?
He was unregistered. So the registration, the paperwork, we were still waiting for the paperwork to come through.
Right.
So we couldn't technically play you if it was a proper game.
Right. I was watching. I went back and rewatched the game, and I heard the commentators. They was like, "Yeah, they got Antwain, and I think he's a player from the Division II league. They had to pull a couple Division II players up." To play.
Thing is, it's funny because we did pull up some Division II players from the Flyers Division II.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of unknown sort of names playing, stepping up into the BBL rotation, and Antwain was in there as well. So everyone was like, I don't know, is Antwain part of the Division II program?
Right,
or
and
is he?
It was funny because then I guess they started trying to research, and they was like, "Oh wow, he played Division I Buffalo."
Yeah, they were literally researching on the fly.
And now he's in Div 2, like in the UK.
That's it.
Right.
And I knew there wasn't loads of players for that game, so I was still waiting for my phone call from Coach K to be like, "Sam, we need you to come in, put a shirt on."
Yeah, I mean, I said to coach on the bus, like, look, I've got my trainers if you need me to suit up and stuff. We were short on numbers for that exhibition game,
Right.
You haven't played basketball in about 10 years, have you,
Literally,
John?
I haven't touched the ball in about 10 years. I mean, one thing we spoke about quite a lot off air and like when you first arrived was like the amount of like American players in the BBL that already know other American players that are playing in this league. Like we spoke about you knowing like Marcus and TJ already from working out with them in the summer. I know you're also in that exhibition game, like Antonio Williams, that you know him already.
For sure.
Wes Person Jr. at Newcastle.
Yes,
Like,
I know Wes pretty good.
how do you know that? Like, talk us through how you know those guys.
Oh, Antonio. I know Antonio because we both played in the MAC in the same conference in college. So I played against him probably like 4 times, and the school that he went to is actually our rival. So we had some pretty heated matches before, so I already kind of knew who he was and the kind of player he was coming into the game. And Wesley Person, we go way back. You know, I met him when I was like 15. We played for the EYBL, so one of the top AAU teams, you know, in the US. So it's pretty unique, you know, to see those guys.
It's such a small world, isn't it?
That
I think
is.
one player you also know, obviously that Flyers fans know really well, is Eric Lockett as well, who just moved on last year.
Yeah, that's like my brother right there.
I tell you what, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but my wife was like proper fancied Eric Lockett, like, but she'd never go speak to him.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely staying in the podcast.
Yeah.
Eric, if you're listening.
Yeah.
How old are you, by the way? Can I ask?
I'm 24.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you were in America. Where did you go to college? That's what I want to know.
I actually went to 3 different colleges. Coming out of high school, I wasn't very highly recruited. I ended up taking the junior college route to try to get better offers. And I only played in the summer, did a couple summer jams in junior college, and I ended up getting a lot of Division I offers. But I ended up taking one with Middle Tennessee State. That was the second college I went to after Chipola, and I played 2 years there, won a championship both years, regular season and the conference championship. And my coach ended up leaving, taking a better job at Ole Miss, so I ended up going to Buffalo after that, transferring to Buffalo.
Yeah, and of course, those first 2 years you played Conference USA, which pretty much every Bristol Flyers player this season has played Conference USA at some point in their college career.
Right.
I think, who was it, like TJ played Conference USA, Marcus played Conference USA, Zach played Conference USA, Mike played Conference USA, and yourself played Conference USA. So we've got ourselves a starting 5 right there of Conference USA players.
Oh my god, that is actually crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's crazy or whether it's just coach going, right, I'm gonna watch lots of Conference USA this year, and that's all I'm doing this summer for my recruitment drive.
Oh, I love it.
How did you reflect on those first 2 years, Middle Tennessee? Do you enjoy it? You enjoy that experience?
Oh man, I feel like that's kind of when I grew the most as a player, just being in that system. Because obviously, coming from a junior college or high school, being a player to go to a Division I, the game's way more physical, way more faster, a lot more detail. So I think it helped me out a lot, just being able to go in there and watch those games and playing them, in big time games, for sure.
I know a lot of players when they sort of leave high school and stuff like that, and they have all these. Can get quite overwhelming when you've got all these offers on the table and you're like, I don't know which coach to choose. I don't know where to go. I've got so many coaches telling me you'll get so many minutes here. And how do you go through that process and, assess those options and be like, right, this is the right school for me to start my career?
I coming out of junior college, like I said, I had a lot of offers. I had a lot. And the main thing for me was just I wanted to go somewhere where I was going to be able to play, for sure, and be one of the main guys, and also go to a coach that I could trust, and who's gonna push me, for sure. So it was a relationship between Kermit Davis and my coach at Chipola, because Kermit Davis actually used to coach at Chipola, so it was everybody from the area knew Coach Davis, and they was telling me how good of a guy he was and how good of a coach he was, and they think that he could bring the best out of me. So that's why I chose his school, honestly.
Yeah. And he has two successful years there. And obviously, like you say, you make that transfer through to Buffalo, which I imagine must have been another pretty difficult decision.
Oh, yeah. And going to Buffalo, I had Coach Nate Oates. And, he was my coach at first, the first year there. He was the head coach. And they had a great season, made it to the NCAA tournament, won a couple games. But just when I went on my visit up there, he just kept it. He was very authentic, he told me, coming in what he needed from me, what he expected. And, I just felt that it was very genuine. So I ended up taking that opportunity.
Do you have a favorite moment from either the first 2 years or from that next year when you were playing?
I got to say my favorite moment in college is winning that conference championship. But also, that's a favorite moment. But I got another favorite moment. I played in the NCAA tournament, and we played in the Bucks Arena in Milwaukee. We was playing Butler. It was a great team, and I had one of my best games I ever had, during that time. And it was big for me, It was on nationally televised game. It was so many people there. It was probably we played in front of a lot of people. Yeah, it was crazy.
In the Bucks arena.
in the Bucks arena.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. That is so good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's massive. Like that. Like is that the biggest arena you've probably played in your career? Do you feel?
I think I don't know because I played in Toronto's arena too, and it was big. It was pretty big. But playing Division 1, we like when it's tournaments, we play in big arenas all the time. So
Yeah. The only big arenas we get in BBL are the O2 for the playoff final, which is around like 15,000, and they do a really good job of selling those out as well, actually.
yeah.
And then obviously the cup final, which is coming up at the end of this month, they get around. We had like 9,000 for when we were in the cup final in 2020.
That's actually
which is
amazing.
massive. And then obviously the trophy final as well, they get around 5,000 to 6,000 in there. But then like the average attendance, like you got Newcastle, which is like 2,500 to 3,000. Leicester's around sort of similar, and then I think with us, like you've played at SGS now, like we're probably the smallest venue in the league. We've got like 750
Right.
fans in the SGS, but they're loud
Yeah,
fans.
that's why it feel like more though. 'Cause
Yeah.
everybody's so loud in there.
Yeah, I imagine that must be quite a strange feeling though, from you like being so used to playing in those big arenas and then just coming over in Europe and.
Well, anything is better than last year because we had no fans at all.
Oh, of
because
course.
of COVID. So
Yeah.
I was just happy to see people in the arena, when I just playing that game. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, I was looking through like we spoke about it before we recorded this podcast, but so, some of the players that you would have played against during your college career, and one player you said that you played against when you're at Middle Tennessee was obviously Ja Morant.
Right. Yeah.
Plays with the Grizzlies right now, blocking
sure.
shots off the top of the backboard.
For sure.
What was that experience like? And was he like? Is he the toughest player you feel like you played against at college?
During the time I played Ja, I think he got better over the course of his career for sure. In college, but the first time I played him, I don't think he had like a just amazing game, but you could definitely tell he was very talented. One thing I can remember for sure is just I always heard about him, and I was just looking down there during warm ups, and I could just see him doing all kind of crazy dunks, 360s between the legs. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I suppose you've probably, you go into an NBA sort of like structure and your game's going to improve, but that raw athleticism he would have had from like,
Oh yeah, that's
way young.
Born with it. Gotta be.
Yeah. Are there any other players that have sort of gone on to like the NBA that you would have played against throughout your college career, whether at Buffalo or at Middle Tennessee?
I actually got a cousin that's in the NBA right now. He played for the Utah Jazz, Trent Forrest. Me and him battled out a lot because we went to two different high schools and we are actually kind of rivals. So me and him battled out a lot. And I played against Kevin. I think it's Kevin Ward. He was at LSU. He played for the Bucks now. There's a lot of guys, in the NBA that I played against. Ahmad Caver, he was with the Grizzlies and the Pacers. A bunch of different guys who I played against. Sure.
It's just crazy, isn't it? Like, these are all names that we see, and then like you're just on a court with them. I can't get over that. I literally can't.
Yeah, I mean these are the guys that like we literally watch and like at the pinnacle of the like it's the highest level you can possibly play, isn't it? Like and just seeing that and then seeing like how close a level that we actually are in the BBL to that level. Like you see, like I don't know if you've seen like two former BBL players recently getting 10-day contracts in the NBA because of the whole COVID situation.
Right.
Like Jay Sean Page used to play for Newcastle. Is it Trayvon Palmer? He played for Worcester Wolves.
Yeah.
Now playing in the NBA on a 10-day contract with the Pistons. Like it just shows that the level is so close. Between where we are now in the BBL and the NBA level.
It just like, yeah, credit to the BBL. The BBL is becoming such a good league. And I don't know if you've obviously played a couple of games now. Like, were you expecting it to be this sort of physical or what sort of things have you seen when you've been playing and be like, this is different to what I thought?
I kind of had a good idea of it because, I watched Eric play a couple times and of course Eric and Marcus told me about it before, but my agent also told me, the BBL is a very respectable league, just because of the talent that's came through and that's in it right now. So, like Crandall, for example, he's a great player, and he played at a high level in college also. So, it's always talent everywhere, especially in the BBL for sure.
What kind of stuff was Eric telling you about before he came to Fly? Did you speak to him before, like you signed, or did you speak to him after you signed?
I spoke to him. I think I spoke to him right after I had got off the phone with Coach. Coach, we talked for a little bit. Then I had called Eric. I call him Lock. I called Lock and I was like, hey, I'm finna go to your old team. And he was like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? Anything you need or just let me know. I can kind of point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he given you any tips of places to go in Bristol at all, or anything like that?
Yeah, he told me a couple places to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess Turtle Bay or something like that.
Oh yeah, Turtle Bay. Yeah, it's a good one. Turtle
Yeah.
Bay.
Get some
Cheeky
good food.
little cocktail happy hour down at Turtle Bay. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Actually, BBL players don't drink any alcohol, John.
Of course.
Okay.
Oh,
Not until the off season, of course.
Yeah,
Right,
of course.
yeah.
Very strict. Very strict. I guess we're talking about like the link between like, or how close like the level and then like some of the lower level NBA players are to where BBL is at right now. Like, I was looking at your Instagram again. It sounds like I'm an Instagram stalker here,
Right.
but I saw.
It doesn't sound like one. You are one.
Well, I mean, the way I get away with it is, it's what I do for a job.
Right.
Like, I look at social media. I got to monitor social media. But I was looking at your Instagram. Obviously, you, I think it was after you graduated from Buffalo. You played. You did some NBA workouts with the Texas Legends.
For sure, yeah. I got an invite to work out for the Texas Legends, and it was very, very unique because we did the workout in the Mavericks practice facility. Everything it was very nice. Good experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just like finishing up a workout and then like Luka Doncic just like walking around.
Actually, the tall one, Bogdanovich.
Oh yeah.
I think he like 7'3". It was crazy because he had the smallest, not small car, but like it was an expensive car, but it was a small Audi. But I was like, wow, he can fit in an Audi. 7'3".
I like you say the tall one, the tall Eastern European one.
Yeah, he's super tall.
It's so good. I love that team. I genuinely think they're amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're looking good this year. And then I guess like the next step in your like, you do these workouts and then you start your pro career and you start it in Georgia.
Right.
Kind of talk us through that experience. Like, what was the reason for you wanting to go and play out there, and what did you make of it as a whole? I guess.
Well, starting off, going into that, COVID had hit pretty like strong after college, so it was kind of tough. They were saying a lot of teams was canceling the season, and really at that point, I was just trying to play, better, because they say it's better to play than sit out a year and try to get a contract. So Georgia was one of the first offers that came across the table, and it was already kind of late in the season. So I decided to take the Georgia offer, just so I can be able to play my first year and get that rookie year out the way.
Yeah, I was looking at your stats online. You had 13 games, averaged 19.2 points a game, and we spoke about like language barrier earlier, but that must have been a pretty tricky experience, like just having just speaking a different language to what everyone else is speaking.
For sure, it did help out a little bit because I guess the second language, like they have to learn 2 languages in school, I guess. So it's Russian, I guess, maybe Russian, and English was their second language. So some of my teammates was able to speak English to me, and I had one American teammate, and that helped out a lot. So
yeah.
It's one of those countries that you hear about. I just don't know anything about it, So
I think Leslie Smith played out there for a little bit before he joined Flyers. Do you remember Leslie Smith?
Yeah.
So I think he played a season with is it Olympi to Tbilisi?
Yep, Olympi.
Yep. So he played there for a season before joining the Bristol Flyers. And he said he really enjoyed his experience out there. A bit of a different experience.
Yeah, it's like definitely something like I never seen before. Just culture wise, it's very different. But it was definitely something great. I had a good chance to see. So
yeah.
Good food. What's the food like?
If you find the right spots, but I did a lot of cooking out there. But because I don't know, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really like the food that much. but it was some places that was pretty good.
People always says even when the Americans come over to here, they question some of our food choices. I mean, the biggest one they get over here is beans on a full English breakfast.
Right.
You ever had a full English breakfast yet?
Yes, I did. We because we eat breakfast at the village sometimes. So when I saw the baked beans, I was like, for breakfast. I had to check my watch, see what time it was.
Did you try them though? Did you at least try them?
I love the baked beans.
Yes!
I eat them I eat them for breakfast all the time whenever we go to the village.
There we go. Don't knock it till you try it.
Right.
Don't knock it till you try it. What about like the I guess like looking back at that whole Georgia experience, like the how do you like rate the standard of play compared to what you were used to at college, and obviously briefly with that spell with the Legends as well?
Going to Georgia, the style of play is definitely something you got to get used to because they really don't call no type of fouls at all. Like, if you think they don't call fouls in the BBL, like, they don't call no fouls at all. And I had to get used to the fact, like, it was no defensive 3 seconds. So, like, it seemed like the paint was kind of clogged all the time. So, it was definitely something I had to get used to. But, once I got used to it, I was able to adjust pretty well. And
I did not know they didn't have that 3 second rule in the defensive on the defense. That's crazy, isn't it?
I didn't do that in the BBL either.
I do think they call a lot of fouls in the BBL, but like particular ones, like like body checks, they don't call very much at all. But little touchy little like
anything
fouls.
with the hands in the BBL, they'll call it. But over there, hands, feet, it don't matter. They're not calling it.
So they say no blood, no foul.
Yeah, no blood, no foul.
Did you get hurt like at all, or not really?
No, I didn't get hurt. Thankfully, I'm glad I didn't get hurt.
Yeah. Well, you did that kind of year experience. Is that something you'd ever consider doing again, or is that like I've done that experience and now I don't want to go back?
Yeah, there? I think I probably I feel like I can't do that no more. No, can't do it again.
Hey, it's all for the experience, then, mate. It's all for the experience,
for sure.
And I guess like after that, you kind of come back and then obviously it's this season. So you obviously played last season all completely without fans, like you said before,
right?
Which I imagine must have been, first of all, being in a no English-speaking country,
right? And
then on top of that, basically playing in empty gyms,
right? Yeah, it was crazy, but I'm glad I'm one of them players. Like, I don't just need the crowd, to get going. So it didn't really affect me as much. It was just kind of weird. You score a basket and you only hear your teammates clapping or something. I don't know.
It's one of those you like have to create your own energy, isn't it? Like last year, I remember like chatting to players last year. It was like it feels strange playing in. You can imagine SGS with no fans. Like it's basically an empty sports hall, but the bench sort of creates their own energy. So every bucket, every stop, even a little thing like a 24-second violation, like going nuts, just to try and replicate that kind of atmosphere that you would get at SGS.
We would I do the commentating at the, I don't know if you saw, but my wife does the sounds or the little like all that, and we would still come and do it while there were no fans in. Partly because Steve asked me to do it because he's like, I think it just adds a little bit more atmosphere. But we were like, this is so weird. There's all this stuff and no one's in there, and it was actually, I found it. Well, wasn't it the year that the most amount of like away wins happened as well? That sort of thing.
Our home record last year was not great at all, and I think a massive part of that was because of the fact that we didn't have fans in there. Like it was literally like a training session. It felt like a training session at times. I tell you what, the weirdest situation was because I do like the live stream commentary, but then when a player's at the foul line and everything's silent, Gareth and I are still talking. So we're talking on air, but the players can definitely hear what we're saying. 100% hear what we're saying. Because we're like, oh, so-and-so's at the line. They're a 72% free throw shooter on the season. And you can tell they're like looking over.
You're in the zone though, aren't you? You just you gotta think about
usually, when I'm playing, I don't hear nothing like except player chatter, other than that. But I don't. So I hear coach sometimes when I need to. I know when I need to look at it.
Don't tell coach that.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah, I hear him sometimes.
I sometimes look over and listen to him.
Hey, coach, if you're listening.
Yeah. It's all right. He's not. It's okay. No,
so you wrap up that experience in Georgia, and you head back home for the start of this season, and you don't get the contract straight away, but you do end up being in the player pool in the NBA G League
for sure,
and end up playing with the I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, but
Sioux
Skyforce, which for those that don't know is like the NBA G League affiliate of like the Miami Heat, and just tell us a bit about how that experience first came about and how you got the opportunity to be part of that.
Well, I actually I had did that Texas Legends workout actually, and then after I had did that, I was home maybe for like a week and a half, and my agent called and he was like, the Heat's G League, they want you to come and come to their trial also in Miami. So I drove down to Miami and I actually went. I played very well. When I went down there, I figured they would probably invite me to training camp. So after that, that's how I ended up at training camp.
How does it work out there? Like, because in the G League, like you often have different players from sort of different backgrounds. So they do like open trials. So as far as I'm aware, they do like open trials.
Right.
And then they have players that come sort of play in the G League on like two-way deals.
Right.
how does that work in terms of like? So did you go in as like an open trial?
I believe so. Yeah, I think I went in as an open trial player, but yeah, that's what it was. I went
Yeah,
as open trial player.
And how long were you like there for? How long were you around that?
Oh, I'd say probably 3 to 4 weeks. I was with them. Because it's actually, usually G League affiliate teams be kind of close, but it's kind of weird with Miami and Sioux Falls because Sioux Falls is actually in South Dakota, which is basically on the other side of the United States. So
yeah.
I
remember I was listening to like Duncan Robinson's podcast. He was saying the same sort of thing because he played with the Sioux Falls for a short while before going up into the Heat, and like the normally that the G League affiliate is like it's close. It's in the same sort of area, but with the Miami one, it's miles away.
Yeah, it's miles away. It's very far.
Yeah.
That makes. I was gonna say you like come from sunny Miami down to Bristol, but you weren't even there.
I was in Sioux. Well, I did go back. I went back to Florida for a while. Probably not. I ain't gonna say a while. Probably about 3-4 weeks. And then I got the call from Coach and my agent about coming here.
And the rest is history.
Well, 3-4 weeks sounds like you're a current. You did that for 3-4 weeks.
I know that's how. It's a cycle right now.
You must find it like tricky to just sort of settle in and stuff because like jumping around so much,
right? Yeah.
Like it must be really tricky just to be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be here for 3-4 weeks, and now I've got to figure out where I'm gonna be next for the next few weeks.
Right? Yeah, it's like you can't get comfortable. You just kind of always just keep a positive mindset about it.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Okay, let's get to some of the questions from the mailbag. We asked some fans to send in their questions, and we're going to put them to you right now on the podcast. But before we start the mailbag section, the first one I found, which you're going to need to explain here, JBiv14 on Insta, who sounds like he's one of your former college teammates. Am I right?
Yes, definitely. That's my boy, though. That's my brother. I'm kind of nervous that what you finna say, though.
Well, so they've asked. Well, they haven't asked a question. Well, they asked a few questions, but the first one they said was, "Does everyone in Bristol know that your nickname is Sweet Cheeks Johnson?" Tell us, Antwain. Tell us the story behind Sweet Cheeks Johnson. We need to hear this story.
Actually, when I first got to Buffalo, it was like my second year. It was one of the assistant coaches, Coach B. He's now at Alabama, but I don't know. He's just that type of guy. He says stuff like that. So we was in practice one day. He was like, "Hey Tay," they call me Tay, but it was like, "Hey Tay, I heard they call you Sweet Cheek Johnson." I was like, "What?" And then ever since he said that, that's everybody just kept it, and it was like Sweet Cheeks. Chill.
Well, that's 100% gonna stick in Bristol.
We're both gonna now call you that the whole time.
Sweet Cheek. I'm gonna say it on commentary.
Yeah.
Sweet Cheeks Johnson from 3.
Totally unrelated to the last question, but JBiv also asked. He also wanted to know how hard was it to guard JBiv every day at practice at college.
Wow. Ask J-Biv how hard was it to guard me. That's all I can say. I definitely taught him some things. That's Lil Bro.
What's JBiv doing now? Is he playing like pro ball or is he still at Buffalo? Or
yeah, he's still at Buffalo. This is actually his last year there. So he gonna be looking to play professionally after that.
Well, shout out to JBiv if he's listening to the podcast.
Hey, you better be glad I can't say what I want to say, JB.
I got a question this time from Facebook from Phil Whitlock, who says, "What's the biggest difference between the American and the British style of play?"
It's really honestly coming here to the BBL. It's not too much difference. Like I said, when I was in the States, basketball is very detailed, and then when I went to Georgia, it wasn't as detailed, over there. But over here, like Coach Andres, he does a great job. Like it's very detailed. So, and just far as like guards, like, we got American guards over here too. So they kind of go together, like,
Because the only thing that is different is those refs that we spoke about, right?
Oh yeah. Except it's a restaurant that was good. It's named Chow. You heard of that place? Chow, a restaurant, Italian.
Oh no, I said refs. But
refs. I thought you said restaurant.
No, I mean refs. We talk about restaurants if you want.
Yeah, we 100% will, but
okay.
But
gotcha.
I've
the refs. Oh my god, yeah, the refs. I don't know. I'm gonna see. I got to play another game to see how I feel about the refs here.
Yeah, it's tricky because you've only literally played one official official game at the time of recording.
Right.
I feel like this will probably go out after the second Leicester game. So at the time of recording, you've played one official game,
Right.
plus a exhibition game in December.
And I actually feel like I was obviously watching the game that they actually weren't calling anything. There was a load of fouls I thought on the baseline that weren't called in that particular game. So
Right.
you might have seen like a particularly feisty one.
We was watching film and the coach was just in there. He's like, "How's that not a foul?" Like, people was saying it. The refs did a great job. I was like, "Ain't no way." I know. I felt them though. It's like it wasn't no way they did a good job because they definitely missed some big calls. But like I said, playing in Georgia, if you're not bleeding, it's not a foul. So I can't really, and I know how it is. Like if you go to chatting at the refs, then you're definitely not gonna get a call in. So I just get up and keep playing.
Hey, and we got the dub, didn't we? So,
Oh yeah, that's all that matters.
There we go.
I got well, speaking of you talking about restaurants, someone
Mm-hmm.
here, let's have a look. Ollie Rahimi on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
he wants to know what your favorite thing about Bristol is, but I feel like you've already talked a bit about Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we talk about what your favorite restaurant in Bristol so far is?
So far as that Italian spot named Chow. Shout out to Chow because they had a smoked salmon pasta and it was great.
Where is that? I've never even heard of it.
It's right down there, I guess, close to the city center.
I'm gonna have to check that out for
It's
sure.
great because the guys actually took me, Mike and Malcolm and Zach, Deuce. They all came and got me. We went down there, had a little meal, and it was great.
Nice. Have you guys done much like social stuff really? Because I know you've been here for like a
Yeah,
couple weeks.
last weekend, we did a little bit. Read some books, played a couple board games.
Bit of Monopoly,
Yeah.
bit of Uno.
Did it get heated?
Oh yeah, they got mad because when I went in there, I don't know how it happened, but I won the first 4 games. and it was funny to me because when I went in there, they was talking, "Oh, you ain't gonna win." I was like, "Hey, I'm a great player. I can play Uno, poker, whatever you want to play, we can play." It was like, "Oh, you sound like you trash." And I won the first 4 games.
And now they're never gonna play with you ever again.
Yeah, they said it was luck though.
That's
so,
what they'll say. They'll say, knowing them, they'll say beginner's luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got another question here. I'm going to skip one, but the next one down is Thea Savage on Instagram wants to know, how old were you when you first started playing basketball?
Basketball, I don't know, because basketball wasn't my first sport. I played baseball first, and so I probably started playing basketball around like 5, 6. Yeah.
What was it that made you make that transition through from baseball?
Well, really, I played baseball. I really was supposed to play baseball in college too, but I played baseball all throughout my high school career. And basketball, like I really didn't have a choice because my family background is just crazy with basketball. Like everybody won championships, and my dad was a good basketball player, so it's like got to play basketball.
There we go.
So we've got another one here from Instagram from K Forever Playing.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite college memory?
Yeah. My favorite college memory would have to be NCAA tournament playing against Butler. I had a great game, fantastic. We didn't end up winning the game, but it was just an unbelievable game. I feel like I had, we was down by like 15 or something like that, but I went on like this 12-point run by myself, and I ended up, bringing us up, but we didn't end up pulling it out. But that was one of my best feelings ever.
Do you remember your stats for that game?
It was great. I think it was I know it was 19 points, probably like 6, 7 rebounds. I don't know how many assists, but I'm pretty sure I had a couple assists too.
Strong. Very strong. Another question here from Instagram. Hang on. Sorry. Nicole Baker on Facebook this time. What advice would you give to any upcoming basketball players inspiring to be where you are?
I would just say, just stay confident and always keep going. Don't never let nobody tell you, where you can and where you can't go, because when I was in high school, it was a little story, but when I was in high school, it was this old guy. He come to all the games, but he told me, he was like, you'll never be a professional basketball player, right? He told me that before the game. And in high school, I was averaging like 29 points a game in high school. But he was like, you'll never be a professional basketball player. Like, you need to, find, what you're going to, like, something in school, that you'll like. And I was like, all right, thank you. I was like, all right, thank you. And then, you know, but basically, you know, people just don't listen to nobody else's opinions, you know, or what they say about your life, because, you know, you the determining factor of your own life.
So, and you hear this a bit, don't you? Like Gilbert Arenas was to 00 his number because he was told the same thing. You're not going to make it pro. And
right.
It's like, and it's good to have that because it inspires you a little bit. Hey?
Yeah, for sure. I always knew him, like not knew, but like I always felt in my heart, you know, that I could make it. Just, you know, from seeing the guys that made it and some guys from my area who played professionally, and I just always, you know, and it was a challenge, like you said. Like I was like, all right, we're gonna see. So.
Here's another one. We've been having a bit of fun asking some quite, like, you know, silly questions or whatever. Sometimes some questions are quite serious and you know, maybe a bit political. Maybe they've got like more of an important meaning that causes a bit of argument or whatever. So I've got a bit of an important question here. Who has the best hair on the team?
The best hair?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say me, but I know Marcus gonna want me to say it's him, but Marcus probably got the worst hair on the team. I just want to put that out in public.
It's funny because obviously everyone just coming straight out of the COVID lockdown on our team. We had like 5 or 6 guys that were like having to isolate and stuff. But obviously, like, there's no access to the barbershops when you're in lockdown.
Right.
So I remember the photos that we put out on social first practice back. Everyone had these big haircuts and stuff.
Man, yeah.
And I saw some of the comments on Instagram was like, "Hey, if you need a barber, I know where to go."
That is amazing.
Yeah.
A couple more questions here. Another one here from Instagram. What age were you when you first dunked the ball? And can you remember your first in-game dunk?
Yeah, I got a story too. All right, when I first started dunking, I think I was in the 7th or 8th grade. No, 7th grade. I first started dunking, but I didn't have my first dunk until the 8th grade in a real game. And when I got the dunk, right, I'm excited. I go dunk the ball, and I come back on defense, and I'm so excited. But then the guy actually ended up crossing me. He ended up crossing me, and I would have failed, but my teammate caught me. So, but it's just funny though, because it's like, it happened like back to back like that. But that was my first dunk, you know, and it was a good one.
Can you, for everyone over here, what age are you in 8th grade?
I have to be probably around 14, 15 maybe.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's massive.
I hope there's footage of that, someone crossing you up, or is it not on tape?
There's definitely some footage. My high school coach got it, and I hope he got it in the vault or somewhere. Maybe we can edit it and just get the dunk.
I think we've just got one final question for you, if that's okay.
Okay.
This is Alicia Tallow.
That's my mom.
Is it?
Yeah, Tylee.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
She asks, what or who has inspired you to be a better person, both on and off the court?
Sounds like Mum's looking for a shout out here.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have to say my mom, my grandmother, and my father for sure. They definitely played a lot of big roles in my life. You know, inspired me to be who I am. So shout out to them.
Shout out to them. They're listening.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect place to wrap things up.
Sure.
Antwain, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and best of luck for the rest of your time here with Bristol Flyers.
Appreciate it, guys.